Imagine reaching a level of purity so profound, so intensely beautiful, that the sinless angels of God, beings made entirely of pure light, actually feel shy in your presence. In the annals of human history, there are tales of conquerors, scholars, and monarchs. But rare is the story of a man whose defining legacy was an overwhelming sense of spiritual modesty. This is not a tale of a warrior's sword, but of a heart so incredibly sensitive to the divine presence that it shifted the very atmosphere around him. Welcome to the story of Uthman ibn Affan, the man who made the angels blush, and the profound secret behind his legendary haya.
To truly understand this extraordinary man, we must first redefine what we mean by the word modesty. In our modern era, modesty is often reduced to a mere physical dress code, a set of rules about what to wear and what to cover. But in the golden era of 7th century Arabia, the concept of haya was something far more expansive and deeply spiritual. It was an internal state of being. Haya comes from the root word hayat, meaning life. It is the spiritual life of the heart. For Uthman, haya was an ever-present, overwhelming sense of divine awe, a constant, burning awareness that he was always standing in the majestic presence of the Almighty. Among the companions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, Uthman ibn Affan was known for his immense wealth, his striking aristocratic beauty, and his unparalleled generosity. Yet, despite his high status as one of the richest merchants in the city of Medina, he was enveloped in a cloak of profound humility. When he walked through the bustling streets, his gaze was perpetually lowered, not out of weakness, but out of a majestic reverence for God. His heart was so attuned to the heavens that he navigated the earthly realm with the utmost care, ensuring that not a single word or glance would disrupt his intense spiritual connection. The true depth of Uthman's haya is brilliantly captured in a profoundly intimate and historically authenticated incident recorded by the early scholars. It was a scorching, quiet afternoon in the desert oasis of Medina. The Prophet Muhammad was resting in a private, enclosed garden, seeking relief from the relentless Arabian sun. He was seated in a relaxed posture near a well, his legs dangling into the cool space. Because he was in a private sanctuary, his outer garment was slightly drawn up, casually revealing his lower legs. It was a rare moment of relaxed tranquility for the leader of a growing, embattled community.
The silence of the afternoon was gently broken when Abu Bakr, the closest and most senior companion, requested permission to enter the garden. Permission was granted. As Abu Bakr stepped into the sun-drenched courtyard, he greeted his beloved friend. The Prophet, feeling completely at ease with his lifelong companion, remained in his relaxed position. He did not move to adjust his garments or change his posture. They sat together in the quiet shade, discussing matters of faith and the community, wrapped in the comfortable silence and familiarity that only decades of shared struggle and unbreakable brotherhood could forge.
Shortly after, another knock resonated at the wooden gate. It was Umar ibn al-Khattab, a man known for his towering presence, unshakable justice, and fierce loyalty. Once again, permission was given, and Umar joined the peaceful gathering. Despite Umar's formidable aura and immense stature, the atmosphere in the garden remained casually intimate. The Prophet continued to recline in his relaxed state, his garments untouched, his posture unchanged. The three men shared the profound comfort of absolute trust. There was no need for formal protocol among these spiritual giants who had sacrificed everything together for the sake of the divine message. But then, a third visitor approached the garden gate. It was Uthman ibn Affan. He stood outside the wooden enclosure, his heart beating with his characteristic gentle apprehension, and softly asked for permission to enter. As soon as the name Uthman was announced, a sudden and palpable shift occurred in the atmosphere of the garden. The casual, relaxed energy of the afternoon evaporated in an instant. The dynamic of the entire gathering was about to change in a way that would leave a lasting theological lesson for generations to come, revealing the hidden spiritual hierarchy of the heart. Upon hearing that Uthman was at the door, the Prophet immediately sat upright. The relaxed posture was abandoned entirely. With a sense of urgency and profound respect, he reached down and hastily pulled his garments over his legs, ensuring that he was fully and formally covered before Uthman could even step foot into the courtyard. Only after his attire was meticulously adjusted and his posture thoroughly corrected did he permit Uthman to enter. This immediate, almost reflexive adjustment was a stunning departure from how he had just received his two most senior and beloved companions. Uthman walked into the courtyard, moving with an overwhelming quietness, his eyes cast downward in immense reverence. His presence brought a serene, almost celestial gravity to the space. He greeted the Prophet and took his seat, completely unaware of the sudden preparations that had just been made for his arrival. He sat with his characteristic modesty, speaking softly and moving gently. For Uthman, this was just another moment in the presence of the messenger. But for those observing, the stark contrast in how he was received was impossible to ignore. A profound mystery lingered in the desert air. Eventually, the gathering concluded. Uthman gracefully excused himself and departed, disappearing into the winding, dusty streets of Medina. Once he was out of earshot, the air in the garden filled with unspoken questions. The companions, ever observant and eager to learn the deeper wisdom behind every action of the Prophet, could not contain their curiosity. It was gently asked, "Why, when Abu Bakr and Umar entered, did you remain relaxed and at ease? But the moment Uthman asked to enter, you immediately sat up and meticulously arranged your clothing." What was it about Uthman that commanded such a distinct, formal reaction? The answer given was a breathtaking revelation that bridged the earthly and the celestial realms. It was explained, simply yet profoundly. Should I not feel shy before a man whom the angels themselves feel shy of? This stunning statement echoed through the courtyard. It was not merely about respect for Uthman's wealth or social standing. It was a cosmic recognition of his inner state. The angels, beings completely devoid of sin and perfectly obedient to God, recognized a level of purity in Uthman's heart that caused them to lower their gazes in deep, heavenly reverence.
This historical incident profoundly redefines our understanding of Haya. Uthman's shyness was not a social anxiety, nor was it a sign of weakness or timidity. It was the absolute pinnacle of spiritual strength. His Haya was a manifestation of an acute, continuous awareness of God's presence. He was so completely consumed by the majesty of the divine that it spilled over into his interactions with the creation. He treated every moment, every breath, and every space as if he were standing directly before the throne of God. This level of extreme vigilance cultivated a soul so pristine that the heavenly host itself reacted to it. When Haya is understood as a spiritual state of divine awe, it transforms how we view our entire existence. It goes far beyond the length of a garment or the lowering of a gaze. True Haya acts as an internal moral compass, a brilliant inner light that guides a person away from darkness, not out of fear of punishment, but out of a deep, beautiful sense of shame before the beloved. Uthman's modesty dictated that he could not bear to displease God, not even in the quietest, most private chambers of his own home. His public modesty was merely the overflowing edge of his private piety. This internal purity naturally blossomed into external greatness. Because Uthman was completely detached from the ego and deeply shy before his creator, he became incredibly generous with God's creation. He famously purchased the well of Rumo when the city was facing a severe drought, giving it away entirely as a free endowment for all people, rich and poor, Muslim and non-Muslim alike. He financed entire expeditions and freed countless captives. His breathtaking financial generosity was just another manifestation of his Haya. He was simply too modest before God to hoard the temporary wealth of this fleeting world, while others were suffering. In an age where self-promotion is celebrated and shamelessness is often weaponized for attention, the story of Uthman ibn Affan stands as a towering, majestic beacon of light. He teaches us that true honor does not come from how loudly we demand the world's attention, but from how quietly and reverently we stand before the divine. The secret of Uthman's Haya is an invitation to all of us to cultivate an inner garden so pure, so intensely focused on the Almighty, that we too might one day walk the earth with a grace that echoes in the heavens. Let us strive for that divine awe, the very modesty that made the angels blush.